For 25 years of its history, Total War has given us some absolute abominations of units. From the worst of the worst to it will be more cost efficient to uninstall the game, turn off your PC and save your electricity bill. Here's a list of some of the worst units the franchise has seen from both performance and cost efficiency.
Yes, my lord.
It's not just peasants. You're the Hattori clan. It's time to sit in ambush for your enemies and hey, while you're at it, let's hire some bandits. After all, bandits and mercenaries serving under a daimyo is nothing new. Little did you know that instead of shooting the enemy to death, you just shot yourself in the foot because you invested God knows how many turns into researching one of the worst units ever from an efficiency point of view. Hattori bandits, or should I say, bandits? Yeah, I know I suck. Why are they so trash? On paper, they look pretty good with decent accuracy, vanguard deployment, and snipe. That should make them amazing ambush archers, right? No. First, you have to invest research into a level 3 ninja den, build it, and then an archery dojo on top as a clan which already struggles with money. Yeah, you have this amazing home province which is the poorest of all the starting clans. Not only that, Kisho training makes your samurai and Shigaru 33% more expensive. The worst part is that this unit wouldn't even be bad if it was recruitable at tier 2, but by the time you unlock them, your bow Shigaru will have more accuracy, since they'll be veterans of many battles, and they have a lot more manpower. Not to mention Kisho training. The bandits do their job of robbing you of your own money very well, but when it comes to being battle ready, the only good bandit is a not recruited bandit. Total War is famous for its history of animal and player-based abuse, so here's a unit type that combines both. Bee artillery. We have sources on bees being used in sieges, and I'll give you a ridiculous one. According to Appian, when the Romans besieged Themyscira during the Mithridatic Wars, they dug tunnels so wide that you could fight battles inside. The defenders released bees into the tunnels and, believe it or not, bears. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Just go with the flow, man. It's an ancient source. Just pretend. Sounds pretty cool, right? Let's take a look at them in-game. Yeah, that's all they do. Buzz around. They pretty much have no kill potential. Sure, it's funny watching a few dudes shout, "Not the bees," as they die a pointlessly sad death, but Beehive onagers are truly a worthless unit. They inflict a pretty crazy 35 morale debuff, but unless you wait for the final split-second charge, by the time the enemy connects with your lines, either the debuff wears off, you're out of ammo, or you end up inflicting it on your own units as well, even if you're precisely aiming. The best way to use this unit is to line it up behind your own soldiers, shoot them from the behind, and just watch the bees eventually kill a few, disband them, and let's never talk about this again. Are you enjoying the show so far? I do a ton of historical, educational, and wacky content, so why don't you subscribe? Or I'm sending you to Bosnia. The Ottomans have a pretty rough start in Empire, with an infantry corps that's lagging behind Europe. Enter the Sekban, or Seymeni. Recruited from local communities, outlaws, and mercenary bands, they formed an important part of the Ottoman army in the 17th and 18th centuries, famous for their rivalry with the Janissaries and multiple rebellions. In-game, let me put it this way. They're a mob unit with smaller manpower, so they get shot to death or beat up by pretty much anything in the game. You're lucky if they get a few kills. If they were just a free garrison unit, it would be fine, but you know what? They're actually recruitable and have upkeep, so yeah, tough job. You're not gonna want them in your armies whatsoever, especially considering they can cause a chain rout. Recruit them in port cities as garrison troops and leave them on a permanent Mediterranean vacation, both for theirs and your sake. Rockets sound like a pretty terrifying thing to get hit by. Unless it's Empire Total War's rocket crew firing them. I don't even know what to say. You have to try intentionally to be this bad when it comes to accuracy. You could have a stationary unit, good luck hitting them. If they actually hit them and kill something, hey, go buy a lottery ticket at this point. They're more likely to hit something on another continent, interrupting a tribal skirmish instead of hitting the unit in front of them that you need eliminated. Leave the fireworks for your New Year's celebration. I think that's gonna work out a lot better. If you thought Eastern Infantry was gonna make this list for Rome 1, you guessed correct, but they routed just before I started talking about them. Moving on then, we're gonna look at a unit that wins the rule of cool, but is very likely to sell your personal information to the enemies of Rome, just like in real life. The Arcani. Wait a moment, you're probably asking, Reptilicus, are you sick in the head? How can they be useless with 2 hit points, fear, and a good stat line? Not to mention they're Roman ninjas? Well, we know the answer to all those questions now, do we? While Arcani have some great combat potential when surprise charging the enemy in the rear, like proper Romans asserting their social status, they flop under intense melee pressure if they don't break a flank quickly because of their low model count. Cavalry tramples them into the dust, and ranged just assassinates your Assassin's Creed wannabes. What's even worse is that by the time you unlock them, you easily have access to legionaries and better units in general that fit with the Roman playstyle. Can they work? Yeah, absolutely, and I love using them, but they're more of a for fun cog that just doesn't fit with the Roman war machine. When you think of Thracians, you think of fierce warriors who, if unified, would conquer the known world if we're to believe Herodotus. Well, just like most of Herodotus' writings, this unit is pure bullscheisse. This one hurts my inner Thracian, but it's also a fact. Thracian spears just suck. On average, barbarian spearmen are versatile because they can hold infantry, and absolutely slaughter cavalry because of javelins, counter-cavalry tactics, an overpowered formation, or hey, a combination of all of them. Even humble steppe spearmen or godlike levy freemen serve a greater purpose. Daco spears, on the other hand, their only purpose is to die. No, seriously. These guys make Egyptian infantry look like gods of the battlefield. For a people known for their use of javelins, they don't get any precursors. Their stats are terrible. Spartacus would cry tears of shame if he saw him. No, you know what? Spartacus wouldn't even try to rebel against Rome if he knew Thracians were this bad. Maybe it's time to worship Dionysus after using this creatively named unit, because by the gods, you're gonna need it. When you look at these queens of the Bronze Age, you have a very unique unit design, and you see beauty. Hey, you might even start playing the game one-handed if you know what I mean. But sirens are complete bait, existing only to lure you to your own death just like their mythical counterparts. In theory, they have an amazing concept. A fast, ranged unit with a taunt ability that forces the enemy to target them. That can have so many different uses, right? Well, too bad because it's actually wasted. They have a smaller unit size, so they're guaranteed to lose missile duels to even some worse quality troops. The somewhat limited range of the ability means you might never even get to pop it if you get focus fired enough. And the biggest offender of all, they're located only in certain areas of the map and their buildings cost gold, so you end up nuking your own economy by recruiting them. The ability is also buggy, and the charmed unit is gonna run through your entire army without any care just to catch the sirens. Sometimes you end up taking out the elite unit without much issues, and sometimes they just stop being lured and then enjoy getting chopped to bits as they're directly behind your front line. This one hurts my Bronze Age soul, man. The Peliset, the Sea Chads. An entire roster full of giants among men. And you get the one true disgrace in the form of ox carts. The unit is based off of the reliefs at Medinet Habu, where you can see Peliset and other Sea People tribes. They're shown both transporting warriors and civilians in carts. This could have been a cool mounted elite unit ready to dismount and stabilize a battle line or beat the enemy senseless, but in reality, I wish they used them to open up a Bronze Age Burger King. They're beyond terrible. Okay. Oxen aren't fast and they don't mow infantry down like proper chariots, so they're just a fancy transport. When dismounted, their pitiful manpower makes them unable to do anything except maybe pin a couple of units in place, despite having good stats. But the thing is, why would you cripple your entire army's effectiveness with a unit whose dead weight can only be carried by big steroid bulls? I'd rather recruit the cheapest shock infantry because I know they'll perform like rabbits on Viagra compared to the limp ox carts. You can tell I have beef with this unit. Any chariot in the game performs the actual chariot role better, and there is just so much good infantry in the Palisade roster or straight up broken. Why would you do this to yourself? Do you really hate the Bronze Age that much? It's time for everyone's favorite big chungus boys from the Three Kingdoms, the arm of the supreme peace. With giant strength come giant maces and an appetite to rival it, so in the smallest Chinese skirmish where 2 billions die, you can probably expect these guys ate a lot of villagers. Memes aside, they look great on paper with splash attacks and some interesting stats, but they suffer hard because of their tiny unit size, yeah. Only a quarter of a full strength. They can absolutely bash through units and it's pretty fun to watch them, but there are a lot more cost-effective options in the Yellow Turbans roster, and not having a shield in the missile-rich environment of Three Kingdoms China? Yeah, that's a pretty bad idea. And after sifting through a lot of trash, we finally got to the end of the list. Listen, there's still a ton of bad units across all the Total War games, trust me. We basically scratched the surface. But I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned a thing or two. Stick around because there's more content coming, educational, wacky, historical, or absolutely unhinged. I got what you need. So until the next time...